Good morning, students. Last class we were discussing about Rutherford experiment, in which we are talking about impact parameter. Sometimes questions are asked on impact parameter. Let us see how that expression has come. So this is some nucleus. This is the center line, and here this beam of alpha particles are coming. So let us say one alpha particle is coming like this. You know that alpha particle is nucleus of helium. This is positive and this is also positive. This is nucleus of that the gold foil what we have taken. So there will be a deviation here. They will repel each other. So there will be a deviation. Here we are calling this as, this is the original path. Okay. So it went like this because there is a repulsion. There is a repulsion here. Okay. Now let us say this particle was coming with some velocity, initial velocity vi. Okay. So this is the original path. This is the direction of that vi, right? But here what happened? So this is the original path. If the nucleus was not there, but because it is there, it deviated. So this is your scattering angle, which is made with the original direction. So let us say this is our final speed. Okay, this is our final speed. Now observe here, this particle speed, is it changing? The particle speed is not changing. It is direction which is changing. The speed not changing. Only direction is changing. Isn't it? So this alpha particle will have some mass. So we can say that if you multiply it, you can write it like this: Vf modulus is equal to Vi modulus. The speed magnitude is same, only direction is changing. And if direction is changing, you are saying that velocity is changing, because velocity is direction plus magnitude. So if you multiply both sides with mass, what you will get? You will get the momentum. Let us say the final momentum is Pf and initial momentum is Pi. But here you know that both are basically same. These two are same. Let us call it as P. Magnitude wise they are both P, only direction is different. So shall we calculate the change in momentum? The change in momentum. Change in momentum, let us see. So change in momentum means what? Pf minus Pi, Pf vector minus Pi vector, isn't it? So can you write it like this? You know that in vectors you cannot take difference. You have to do like this: plus minus Pi vector. You can write it like this. Minus Pi vector means what? Opposite to the direction of the original direction. So this is your original direction in which it is going. So minus Pi vector will be in this direction, isn't it? So this is also P vector, this is also P, and in this direction there is a P. Momentum we are talking about. Okay. So you have got one vector like this, you have got another vector like this. Now what you are calculating? You are calculating change in momentum. So you are calculating change in momentum as Pf plus minus Pi vector. Okay, this is vector wise. How to calculate the magnitude? You have to construct this parallelogram, and this will be your delta P, isn't it? So how to calculate the magnitude means you have to add these two vectors. So delta P will be what basically? If you are talking about magnitude, it will be root over, you see here, Pf and Pi. So in this direction Pi vector, you see what is the net vector? If I talk about, I will say this is my x and this is my y. Okay. In x direction, what do you have? You have p in this direction. Pf will have a component in this direction. So what is the component? That component is p cos theta. It is towards positive x, and minus pi, it is acting in this direction. So you have p cos theta minus p. This is x direction. And in y direction, you have p sin theta. This is y direction. What is theta? The scattering angle. So what is magnitude of delta p? It is root over x square plus y square. So it is p cos theta minus 1, this whole square, plus p square sin square theta. Okay, this is what you will get. So just expand it. So when you expand it, we are finding delta p vector, magnitude we are finding out. So here you will get p cos square theta. You have got p square cos square theta. You have got p square sin square theta. So this will become 1. Then you have not 1 but p square. Then you have 1 inside, cos square theta plus 1 minus 2 cos theta. You get another p square inside. Alright, minus 2 p square cos theta. Minus 2 ab, no? Minus 2 ab. Okay, you can take p square, otherwise you can take p square outside. It will come as p because it is under root. So you are going to get cos square theta plus sin square theta 1, plus there is 1 here, minus 2 cos theta. This is what you are going to get, right? So this is what? This is p into 2 into 1 minus cos theta under root. This is my delta p magnitude. What is 1 minus cos theta? It is 2 sin square theta by 2. So it is 2 into 2 sin square theta by 2. So it will be 4 sin square theta by 2. So root over 4 sin square theta by 2 will be 2 sin theta by 2. So this is your delta p magnitude. Alright. So this is that. This is your delta p. Now you see that these two lines are parallel. So this is theta and this is theta. Let us say this angle is some alpha and this angle is some alpha. You observe it. Why this angle I am writing as alpha? This side is equal to this side, and this is anyway equal to this. This was p and this was p. So this is also p in this triangle. In this triangle, this is also p and this is also p. So what type of triangle is this? It is an isosceles triangle. So if this is alpha, this is also alpha. So can we find alpha? So in that triangle, what you will get? You will get theta plus alpha. 2 alpha is equal to 180 degrees. Okay. So write it as pi. So what do you want? You want alpha, no? So pi minus theta by 2 or pi by 2 minus theta by 2. This is the value of alpha. Okay. Keep this result as it is. Now we want to calculate, let us say, when the particle is here. So this is the nucleus, which is a positive. The alpha particle is going like this. Alpha particle was here, then here, then here, like that it came to here. So what is the force between them? The force will be in this direction. This force. What is that force? We know that electrostatic force. So how you will get that force? F is equal to K Q1 Q2 by R square. This is, let us say, general way of writing is Z1 E Z2 E. So this will be Z1 Z2 E square by whatever distance R square. Okay. All right. Now you see here, let us say this force, where is your diagonal? Diagonal is like this. This delta P diagonal is like this, and this force F is taken in such a way that it is absolutely perpendicular to the x-axis. So let us say this small angle is some phi. Okay. Now that means this force will have a component in this direction. You know, this force will have a component in this direction. So this component, let us call it as F dash. We'll call it as F dash. This force will have a component in F in diagonal direction. That F dash will be equal to what? F cos phi. F dash will be equal to F cos phi. So what is F basically? Is it not change in rate of change of momentum? Can you write this F dash also as rate of change of momentum? This can be written in two ways. One as F cos phi, another as rate of change of momentum. That means essentially these two are equal now. Okay. So delta P you have already worked out. Okay. So can we frame an equation here? So in terms of differential form, if you write, so this will be equal to, I am taking B the other side. So this will be equal to F cos phi. What is F? F is K Z1 Z2 E square by R square. R square is not radius but the distance of the alpha particle from the center of the nucleus. Some distance. You can call it as R square, D square, whatever you wish, you can call it. R is not the radius of the nucleus. This is your F into cos phi multiplied by this dt will go that side, multiplied by dt. So if you want to get the total value, you need to integrate this. But while integrating this, you have a phi here, a dt here. So how to integrate? So you can see in another way, when this particle is going like this, remember this particle is tending to rotate, you know, this particle with respect to this axis, this particle will have an angular momentum also. So that angular momentum L is equal to, what is angular momentum? It is moment of linear momentum. This particle has got mass m, speed v, multiplied by the parameter. So basically in this whole exercise we are trying to find the parameter. So somehow we have to bring this parameter stuff into our calculations. How we can bring that? L is equal to linear momentum is mv multiplied by the perpendicular distance. Okay. So when the particle is coming over here, is there any external torque acting? There is no external torque acting. Now here it tends to rotate. It is, you can say that it is part of a big circle. It is tending to rotate. It is tending to rotate. You know? So can we write L also as mr square omega? Mr square omega. Okay. So this is another way of writing it. Now, what is omega? Omega is d phi by dt. Omega is d phi by dt. Rate of change of angle, you know. What is the angle over here? What is changing here? Phi is changing. If I take the force over here, there is some phi. If I take here, there is some other phi. You know. So when you equate this to this mb, we will write it as P into B is equal to mr square d phi by dt. We will bring dt on the other side. See, in the expression we are trying to find out the value of dt. So let us calculate the value of dt from this expression. Okay, introducing our momentum value. So dt will be equal to, because we want to find dt now. So it is mr square by mv, you write it as momentum, b, mv into b, mr square into d phi. We can write it like this. Now put this expression into this expression. So we are going to get dp is equal to k z1 z2 e square by r square cos phi multiplied by mr square by pb into d phi. Now you can integrate because both are in terms of phi. So essentially what you have done means this dt you have converted into this phi. So any common terms we can eliminate here. So this is gone. Okay. So what is left now? and you can write k z1 z2 e square. I will write in a particular format. See, dt, there is a p over here, so it is p b by m. This m I will bring it down. Okay. What is dp? dp we have already calculated. dp value is delta p is how much? We have somewhere calculated. This is the value, right? So right hand side, left hand side, you write it 2p into sine theta by 2. Okay. So when you integrate it, now let us integrate this whole stuff. Okay. So what you want to get? You're going to get integration of cos phi d phi. Now here we have to be a little careful. Cos phi d phi. That means we have to put the range of this phi. Observe here, we have to put the range of the phi. See, what is one extreme range when the particle is in absolutely opposite direction. That means here. So this is phi value. The one maximum value is plus phi. You take this as a reference line. Alpha is one extreme. Another extreme is what? Another extreme is this. See, it cannot go like this because, see, if the nucleus was not there, then it went straight. Because nucleus is there, it will take a deviation. Okay. So another extreme will be what that have drawn in this diagram. This is one extreme. The another extreme is this direction what I have drawn. Another extreme is not this straight line because this nucleus is there. It can never go straight if there is a nucleus. So alpha is one extreme. So you see here, this force I told you is perpendicular to x-axis. This whole is 90 degree. So this small angle is 90 minus alpha. If you see this one, this final momentum line and this delta p line, that is also perpendicular. So if that is perpendicular, this is 90 minus alpha, this will be alpha. Okay. Now here you are measuring like this and here you are measuring in the other direction. So you can write the range will be minus alpha to plus alpha. Okay. Now because we want to calculate the value of b, I am writing here, I will take b on the other side. You see here, if you integrate this, because the space is little less, I will write the integration value. After this step, what is the integration of cos phi d phi? It is sin phi. So this integration value will become sin phi from minus alpha to plus alpha. From minus alpha to plus alpha. So when you put the values over here, it will be sin alpha minus sin of minus alpha. Sin of minus alpha will be minus sin alpha 2 times minus is coming. If you write this sin alpha, you will get minus sin of minus alpha. Isn't it? Sin of minus alpha will be minus sin alpha. Again there is a minus, so it will become 2 sin alpha. So this will become 2 sin alpha. So this value is going to become 2 sin alpha. Okay? It will become 2 sin alpha. What is alpha? Alpha you have worked out here. It is pi by 2 minus theta by 2. So it is sin of pi by 2 minus theta by 2. Isn't it? Sin of pi by 2 minus theta by 2 means cos theta by 2. Okay? Everything I am writing here because again we cannot write, there is not much space here. So this will become 2 cos theta by 2. Okay? You see here, this 2 is gone. There is sin theta by 2, there is cos theta by 2. We are working out the value of b. So b can be written as b is equal to k z1 z2 e square by p. One more p is there here. So this will become p square by m. What is p square by m? P square by m is p square by 2m is kinetic energy. Okay? Into cot theta by theta. This is sin theta by 2 going other side becomes cot theta by 2. You remember when deriving the expression for d, the distance of closest approach, I told you that it is equal to what? K Z1 Z2 E square by kinetic energy. Remember that? So, for kinetic energy, if you have to get, you have to multiply this numerator denominator by 2. T square by 2m is kinetic energy. So, this whole thing, observe this whole thing, what is this? It is d by 2. D by 2 cos theta. So this is the simplified expression for finding out the parameter. If any question comes on this, see why we are doing derivation also means there will be mains and advanced level questions where you are supposed to know the derivation part. Okay. So just to give you a holistic idea, I have done this derivation. You should know the method how it is coming. But the simplified version of getting this parameter, impact parameter B value is this. If you know the distance of closest approach, you can work out the impact parameter. Okay. So with this, I will conclude today. In the next class, we will see some more concepts. Okay.